town hall in Dearborn that I'd like to echo again today. I know there are a lot of people that are concerned. Some of you may have immigration issues and situations that you may want to talk about. Please, for your own safety and your own protection, do not bring up specific immigration-related questions that you may have. Talk to us on the side, we'd be more than happy to assist you. But you have to be careful in this time because you don't know, unfortunately, you don't know who's listening. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to tell you that in this time you have to be smart. So keep that in mind when you're asking your questions, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. And let's give that young child who's running a 4:140 around there, killing the game out here. Now, everybody out here, we had posed an area where people can give us questions beforehand. We're going to answer those questions first. Now, as you see, volunteers, please raise your hand. We have one right here, and we have two right there. If you can have Yusuf and or Noor come to this side and somebody run the middle. Whenever you write your questions down, just raise your hand with the pad, with the paper. Somebody will come around and collect them, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. Now, any questions that you do not have answered tonight, feel free to email us and or come and collectively talk to this panel in private, and we'll try to get as many questions answered as possible. Now, let's get moving to the question-answer session. All right, sounds good. I'm just going to keep passing the mic down, and they've already written down the questions with a few answers, so we'll just keep passing the mic down to whoever wants to go. Just raise your hand and take it.
I'll start real quick. It says, what could be done to get the facts out, like the church 5013 Establishment Plus? I mean, to get the facts out, we've been using social media, Facebook Live, articles, getting your friends messaging. I don't know if the 501c3 question meant whether an organization could take a stance against the order or not, but we could, we push against the
Is there anything you can do in the media, like television, radio, something, to commercials, to get out facts about?
That's a great question. What can you do with the media otherwise to get facts out? Well, you saw what media and facts did in the past election cycle, so I think the more you're able to get stuff out there, the better. But I don't know of a platform that's facts only that people are going to trust. Next question. Our present vetting process is highly strict, detailed, and complete. I understand it is an 18-month, 2-year process. This is referring to people who enter as refugees. Could you please explain that process? To enter as a refugee is probably the most difficult process to enter the United States. There are 18 security steps, not to mention the fact that you need to prove that you have been persecuted by the government on account of your race, religion, membership in a particular social group, political opinion, or national origin. That involves databases with the FBI, the Department of State, Interpol, USCIS, various Defense Department databases, and more. And then there's 12 more steps when you enter the United States. So we can explain this ad nauseum. Our own governor in the state was very concerned about this. He expressed concern last November, which kind of started many of the backlash that has happened around the country. And actually recently he came out and said, no, it's a pretty good process. I'm in support of it. So if the governor is mollified, hopefully others can be too. Have the federal justices actually ruled the ban unconstitutional, or have the justices issued injunctions telegraphing the likelihood of success on the merits? As Sharif was saying earlier, to get an injunction passed, you need to prove several things. The first one, an injunction basically stops an order from taking effect. So you need to prove that you have the likelihood of success. You have to prove that there is going to be irreparable harm if this order continues. You have to prove that the equities favor you, and then finally you have to prove that it is in the public interest. And in 6 instances, we have seen that there is this injunction that has been put in place to stop the order from effect. Some of these injunctions are local, and some of them are national. And so none of these cases have been heard on the merits. That will happen. I imagine there will be appeals on that moving forward, and there will obviously be more cases. The last thing I want to say right now, while I do have the mic, and there are a lot of other attorneys on this panel who like to talk as well. There are lots of ways to get involved. Another way is by voting, right? So many people voted. A lot of people did not vote in this past election. We have 9 million permanent residents in the United States today who are eligible to naturalize but have not. This is the highest number we have ever seen in the United States. There are over 110,000 people in Michigan who are permanent residents and are eligible to naturalize today. There are free programs. My office has them, and there are other places around the state and around the city who can help people naturalize for free. It is, they will meet with an attorney, they will go through the process, and hopefully as a result of that, they can become citizens. There's been an initiative over the past 5 years called the New Americans Campaign, which has helped 250,000 people as of yesterday become U.S. citizens. So if more people become citizens and more people are actively engaged civically, they can not only vote, but they can run for office. But really the greatest benefit of citizenship is not any of these things, it's security. It's security for yourself and for your community, knowing that you are going to be here and that you're going to be able to participate in your community's economic and social life moving forward. So for yourself, your family, your community, if you know people who are permanent residents and are scared, have them call an attorney to talk about it, to see if they are eligible. Maybe there's a waiver. Maybe they don't have to speak English, because you don't need to be fluent in English for many people to become citizens. So I will pass the mic down the panel to others.